All right, welcome everybody to episode 2 of the series with Goose. We got him here to our facility here in Blacksburg. Got him on the trailer, had a safe ride. He's gotten a day or two to settle in. But this will be the first training session with him. Literally all we've done is we've kept him at the barn and maybe moved him back and forth between a stall and a paddock. But we haven't really done any training on him. So again, this will kind of be day 1 of the colt starting process. Even though pretty much today, he's not what I would say completely halter broke yet. So we're going to be working on a lot of the same fundamentals that we did in the trailer loading session. But number 1, and you can see he's settled down quite a bit, so I'm happy about that. I usually like to give him a day or two to settle at our place and kind of just get the lay of the land before I start trying to teach him too much. So he's standing good today, but number 1, I want to make sure that he can stay out of my personal space. A lot of these horses that are bred, and sometimes it's smaller breeding operations, they just don't really get to learn personal space because people are around them so much from a young age. And obviously he's gonna grow up and be a big Cleveland Bay one day, and so if he keeps wanting to crawl on top of you, it's gonna get less and less attractive. And he's big enough right now, I don't want him on top of me right now. So that'll kind of be the emphasis of today. Kind of like with the trailer loading, there's no number 1 way to start a colt. There's no way you have to do it. I've seen it done a lot of different ways effectively. Just like people, horses can learn in a lot of different ways. And I usually change my approach based off the type of horse. So again, he's not super bothered by things. I mean, that might change once we go to saddle him or do some different things, but he's not super bothered by things compared to maybe a hotter blooded horse. So for me in this first session, I'm more going to prioritize him knowing that he can keep his distance away from me. Okay. As opposed to maybe one that was a little more wary of people or hard to catch or things like that. I might work more on getting them gentled down because I'm not afraid. They're trying to get away from me. I'm not afraid of them coming into my space. So the first thing I like to do is just get them to where they can lead around me in a circle. Okay, and you can definitely do this with a flag, and I might end up having to get a flag, but I like to try to do it with just the lead rope in the beginning. So all I'm going to try to do is take this lead rope and direct his feet in a circle around me. And you'll notice I'm not going to try to drive him. I'm going to do my best to just try to get him to operate off feel. Okay. So I'm going to ask him to go here. Now, right there, he takes a step forward, so I've got to tell him that that door is closed. Okay. And so I'll say, don't come forward. I want him to take a step to his left. So I'm not actively trying to, I'm not actively trying to back him up, but I am going to protect this space I have between me and him right now. Because I want him to learn that he can walk around me without coming into my space. Okay, so I'll come here, give him lots of warning, say, what if you went to the left, my right, his left. Good, that was better. He's kind of right on the line coming into my space, but that was a lot softer and a much better reaction to start. So I'm going to say, what if you can continue on this line? Good, good. And I'll just keep asking. Good. And I'm always trying to send him out away from me. Good. Good. So he picked that up pretty quick. So what that tells me is he remembered some things from our trailer loading session. And all I'm gonna do is I want him to just operate on this circle without me, okay? And if he starts to think off the circle or starts to slow down, that's when I might come in with the lead rope like that. Good. Good, so he wants to slow down there. He's a little looky right there, so I'm gonna bump him and say go that way. Good. And right here, the way he's learning from all this is this circle around me is the only place that I am not bothering him. Now I'm not doing a ton, but I want him to walk this circle good. You see how his top line starts to relax? This is great. Good. So I'm really happy with that. So now I'm just gonna walk away just enough for him to stop. And I want him to stop. I'm gonna walk away again. I want him to stop coming forward, okay? So what I mean is he's going forward, his all 4 feet are moving in the same direction, and I want him to stop like that. Because the name of the game for putting the first ride on him is gonna be preserving that forward energy, okay? As long as they feel like they can flow forward and not get bothered, it's way less likely that they're gonna buck or have any problems. So I'm just gonna offer this the other direction. Good. I mean, he's definitely retained some stuff because this is a different horse than what I tried to load on the trailer. Now, if he does start getting his shoulder too close to me, I can use my hand or a flag or the lead rope to say, don't come into me. But again, I'm trying to get his feet to move off of feel. So like right here, he's coming into me just a second. Good. And I didn't try to drive him forward. I just tried to drive him out, and then he got back out on that circle and he found that, and that felt good to him. Really good, buddy. Okay, so anytime he looks out, I just try to bring him back. But when I get on his back, I want to have a foundation that he knows that his feet can move based off of what this lead rope does, right? And it's kind of like the old Ray Hunt quote when they're talking about starting horses. He says, we're just trying to get them to lead from their back. Well, that's really true in the beginning because they don't know anything about your legs yet. They don't know anything about you using your body. So here he got a little stuck. So I'll just come here, there. And even though I know he's capable of going around now, I still have to reward every little try he does. There. And right there, I'll say, find some space out away from me. Good boy. Good. And you see there, his top line levels out, he relaxes. This is what I want to see. Really good. So I'll just let him come through here, then let him stop right there. I don't want him coming into my space, but I like him finishing really fluid where he's walking forward. I don't want him, you see it a lot, especially if people are really big on getting horses to face up to them. You know, like maybe they're lunging them around them, and then they're like, get that hind quarter to move away from you and get the horse to face you. The horse almost learns to stop jerky, right? And what I found is a lot of times that can get you in a situation where the horse will travel forward, you're riding them, the horse is traveling forward, you're riding them, going along, and then they stop. I want him to feel like everything we do, like right there, he can just flow forward. I still want him to respect my space, but I want him to feel like he can flow forward all the time. Okay? So I'm gonna come back here and pet on him a little bit. can kind of touch him in his cinch area and stuff. And now this is a guy who, again, he's pretty gentle as far as just letting me walk up and touch him, okay? So he's still got a lot to learn as far as the groundwork and stuff, but I'm gonna start working towards getting him saddled. So I'm just gonna check out his belly and his cinch area real quick. And then we're gonna go ahead and kind of put like a homemade surcingle on him and start getting him exposed to the idea, maybe something around his belly. Good. Now again, if I had a more reactive horse, I'd probably need to take some more time to prepare him for this. But just based off my experience, the way he's acting, I think we're gonna be able to get this on him pretty easily. And that's kind of a general rule I follow. Like if they're gentle enough to get saddled, even if they're not, you see this a lot, especially in the eastern United States. If they're gentle enough to get saddled, I want to be efficient with my time and go ahead and saddle him, even if he's not very educated yet, because I want him to just learn to pack that saddle all the time. Okay, so I'm going to come around to this side. Good. And he gets a little bothered about this, but that's no big deal. Like I said, we haven't prepped him for this a whole lot, but I think he's gentle and good-minded enough that we can start getting him the idea of something on his back. There you go. Now, just for filming purposes, let's turn you around here, buddy. And again, this is probably not typical of all your colts. A lot of them will probably be a lot more bothered about this stuff, but he's doing really good. And I don't think if there's challenges he might run into, I don't think they're going to be related to him not being gentle enough. I think he's got some level of confidence around people already, so I'm happy to see that. For as big as he is, his heart girth's not very big yet. We'll get this at least a little ways on there. And I just want this tight enough that will stick to him. He doesn't have to take all this pressure right away. Like I said, I'm just gonna go back to kind of the halter breaking process like he was a weanling here in a second, but I'm gonna let him wear this. All right, buddy. Really good. Tighten it up on this side just a tick. I think whoever wore this last was a little bigger than you, buddy. Careful. Good. Good. So that's why we start him with this thing, because he needs to learn to wear this. Really good, buddy. So since he showed that he's a little bothered by it, I'm going to come around here and walk towards his hip. He says he's not so sure about that yet. There you go. Good. So see, this is kind of what I'm talking about. That was better. He kind of loses his flow for a second. He was moving real easy and relaxed. had that good level top line. Good job, buddy. Good job. In an ideal world, he wouldn't have stepped on the lead rope there, but he's not going to live in an ideal world. So it's no big deal. We're just going to move on from it. Okay, so here you see he's wanting to push on me a little more. There. I'm not trying to drive him with the lead rope, but I am letting him know he can't come into my space. There you go, Bubba. And you see he's a little more cautious about this whole deal. I like that he's walking at the end of this lead rope, but he's a little more cautious. Good. Can you go that way? Good. I might throw this lead rope up there. Yep. I saw he was pretty tight there, so I kind of wanted to do something to ask him to move forward and see how he responded. There. But he keeps wanting to bring that shoulder in, and this is the shoulder he kept wanting to bring into me when we were trailer loading. So I'll throw that at him and say, you can bring that shoulder in, stay out. See, he doesn't want to stay out. He's trying to come towards me for comfort. There. And he'll just work through this and he'll find that the answer's forward over there. There you go. That was a little better. Good boy. Same thing as the trailer loading. He needs to find that this lead rope is what's attached to his feet. There you go. There, you turn loose a little better. Good. Take a minute and think about that. Really good, buddy. And this is really important right here. This is a big part of the colt starting, is sitting and letting him ponder on this. You see how he keeps working his mouth and he's blinking a lot. His head's going back and forth. He's got a lot of processing to do right now. Good. And I just kind of moved a little bit. You stay right there. I kind of moved a little bit to help him not chew on my latigos. Okay, so we're gonna keep moving. Gonna get the flag out and we'll work a little more on him understanding he can keep his shoulders away from me. Okay. He's worlds better than 2 days ago than when we were trying to load him on the trailer. But if I want him to go out to the left here, my left, I want him to know that he can go way out there and keep those shoulders away from me, okay? So this is what we've already been doing, and then this is why I'm bringing the flag. I'm gonna come towards his hip a little bit, hold this flag in front of his face, and let him learn that he can change direction here. There. Good. Change direction without having to come towards me. Really good. Really good. Okay, so I'll walk the other way. Say, change direction. I know. Now, when he does change direction like that, and he goes to use his hocks, and he rocks back and his core engages, that surcingle gets a little tighter on him. There. So when he gets bothered, I'm just going to pick up on the lead rope. There. Good. Now I'll walk away, kind of take the pressure off of him. Really good. So every time he uses himself a little more, no different than if he was going to turn with me on his back, or he's going to go into a lope transition and really reach underneath himself, that surcingle is going to get tighter on him, right? Those cinches are going to tighten up, which until they kind of get used to that, it can cause them to grab themselves and get scared. And that's why, you know, if you got one that's going to buck, the most likely time they're going to buck is the transition to the lope. That's getting way better. He's getting so much more sensitive to this halter. So now that he's getting better about walking this circle, I can take my flag and maybe start getting that over some places. Like down here, that usually boogers them pretty good. So I like to make sure they're really good about the flag down here. Good job. He says, I don't know if I can walk that circle if that flag's going to be there. Why don't you go back to the right, buddy? There. Good. So I want him to be able to walk this circle with this flag activity and have it look no different than if the flag wasn't there at all. Okay? Because I want him to learn that this feel trumps everything else. There you go. There he's a little better about the flag. So I'm going to walk away, let him come forward, and relax. So one day when he goes to a horse show, and he's at the warm-up ring, and a plastic bag rolls across the warm-up ring, or the American flag is flapping in the wind, or whatever is going on at the horse show, I want to have him rely on the feel I'm offering him, whether I'm sitting on him or holding him. I don't want him to be bothered by all this extracurricular stuff. So right now my left hand is what he needs to listen to, and then what's going on with the right, that's just stuff we don't need to worry about. Really good. Good. I think it's interesting, you know, I was having to touch him with that flag and everything, get him on the trailer and do enough to kind of get him to try there. But now we've got the flag here and he's so sensitive to it, it's almost like he's woken up some. Good. So another thing that'll booger them is coming up from behind them out of their blind spot. Good. Good. I'll just offer that. There, he took that a little better. He scooted, but he didn't feel the need to come undone. So I'm gonna reward him with that for a second. Let him think about that. Good boy. Good. And I'm working on the threshold here that he can take. Good. Really good, buddy. I'm actually pretty happy with that. So the way I kind of explain it to people, if you have a meter from the ground to the sky, and that's how much the horse can take a certain thing, whether it's maybe me flagging him or whatever it is. If you have that meter, right now he's maybe got a threshold where it's like, when I get to here, anything below here, he's like completely unbothered by it. And then up here, this is when he gets so bothered that he can't think anymore, and it just all unravels. So there's a sweet spot in between where he gets bothered and where it all unravels. I'm trying to get to that point, but not exceed that zone, and then come back down and let him think. And if I can get to that zone, kind of let him sit there for a second, and then we come back down and think, then the zone gets higher. And every day you just try to move that zone farther and farther up the meter until eventually there is no top. He can just handle all the pressure. So, you know, you might have heard me, like there's a time or two he's gotten bothered and, you know, he's maybe wanting to buck or do something, and I say, good. Well, it's not because I want him to get bothered. I don't want him to get bothered. But I do want us to go somewhere. I do want us to get something done. And just like people, his progress is going to sit right on the edge of his ability. And right now his ability is, I'm doing good to just wear this surcingle and then have the flag wave around. Okay. But that's okay. It's day one. Good. So let that energy come up and then come back down. Come up and then come back down. Let that energy come up and then come back down. Yeah. I know, buddy. Good. And I'm kind of working on two things right now, because he's like afraid of the flag, but he also can't help but be a little pushy. He doesn't really like to move his shoulder away from me. So I'll just hold the flag. It's like, you're afraid of this, right? But you also can't move away from me. So, you know, I don't want to put him in a bad spot necessarily, but also we can work at two things at once. He can get some practice moving that shoulder away because he is afraid of the flag. So like right here, there, that shoulder moves away. Good. Good. There, he moved off a little softer. So I'm going to let that be a win. I'm just going to kind of walk off like nothing happened. And I'll just keep going until he turns loose right here. Like right there. Good. And then we'll stop. And give him a minute. So I'll switch gears here in a second after he's got time to think, and I'll let him learn to follow this flag a little bit. I like to do this in the beginning. I like to do this right away, but on ones that I'm maybe concerned they're going to be a little pushy, I work on what we've been working on with him. But now he's kind of gotten to the point where he's not pushing on me so much. He's thinking kind of like how a default horse acts, right? They're cautious and they're looky and they're wanting to stay away. So now that we're kind of at that point, we'll work on following this flag. So I'm just going to walk and wave this flag, and he's like, I don't know about that. But I'll let him follow it for a second. And what I'm kind of looking for here, I'm just keeping him on a circle so I can help keep his feet untracked. But I'm kind of looking for him to mellow out. Like there, he didn't really pull on me or anything. Really good. All right, come with me. And I don't know that I would say I'm being careless with the flag when I do this, but I want to get to where I can be careless. I want to get to where I can just kind of walk him around and it's no big deal. Like there. I can feel on the end of that lead rope when his feet break loose. And when his feet break loose and he calms down a little bit, that's when I'm gonna take the pressure off of him. So now I'll walk backwards a little bit and kind of give him a little more pressure to think about. And let him learn that he can walk into this. And again, it's kind of like the trailer loading. I want him to learn that this lead rope trumps everything. If I offer you a feel, this is what we're going to be doing. Okay? He's like, well, there's flags waving in my face. It's like, yeah, well, maybe one day someone's going to ride you up to a jump and you're like, I don't know, it's got, you know, butterflies or dollar bills or whatever crazy thing they think of, and you're going to have to just trust whoever's on your back and honor that you will go forward. But we're building all that in right now, so we don't have to address that later. We want to be consistent for these guys from the beginning. Scary stuff, isn't it, buddy? Good. So I might take a minute, just pet him with the flag, since he's kind of relaxed. Good boy. And all this is preparation for saddling, you know. I put the surcingles on, and it takes a minute to get used to that. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. And so this takes him a minute to get used to. But I want to prepare him for when we do ride him. He's going to have a saddle pad and saddle strings and fenders and all these different things flopping around. There you go. There you go. You're okay. You're okay. Really nice. And then I'm going to let him walk forward out of that so he doesn't freeze up. And you probably noticed a lot of this stuff I'm trying to introduce to him while he's moving already. Okay, a very common mistake, and I definitely made it when I first starting colts, was you can get them gentle about a lot of things if their feet aren't moving, because they're not actually okay with that thing. They're actually just frozen and terrified, kind of like if you've ever gone hunting, or even if you just drive your car, you have a deer just stand there and look at you. They're not standing there and looking at you because they're not afraid. They're frozen, right? It's kind of a classic flight animal response. And then all of a sudden the deer takes off and jumps 3 fences and it's gone. Well, I'm trying to avoid having that happen with Mr. Goose here. Good boy. Good boy. Good. I'll block right here with my flag. Say, don't go forward, don't go into me or backwards. Go out to my right. Go out to my right. And again, I'm offering with the lead rope. Coming here, good. When he moves his feet, he comes off of that pressure. There you go. Good job. Good job. Good. He's just getting softer and softer with his body and moving off that lead rope softer and softer. Good job. I'm gonna say you can't bring that shoulder in. Good. And this is just so important because I want him to feel like he can operate off this feel I'm offering him, and all this extra stuff doesn't matter. Good. Good. Because if I get him to that point, the riding will just come so much easier. It'll be uneventful. Good. Good. Okay, so that right there was really important because it was the first time that I moved my flag like that across his back and his feet didn't slow down. He didn't think about locking up, because that locking up, that's a precursor to bucking. So I'm going to give him a minute to kind of sit on that thought and let that feel good to him. What time we got, Tori?
We're at 39 minutes and it is 9:49.
Okay. Ask him to go this way again. Good boy. Good. So again, he's getting lots of exposure to the flag, but as far as directing his feet, I'm trying to do all that with the lead rope. It's not like I'm trying to lunge him and drive him with a whip or a flag or whatever. I'm trying to get my right hand to be connected to his feet. And sometimes right now, his feet are sticky. You see him get up. You see the difference in him when I offer this. I'm trying to get to where there is no change in the horse going around me in the circle. And right now, that was better. That was a lot better, buddy. Yeah, just let it go. Good. So you see how much better he's getting. Like that is worlds better. Yes, sir. I just want this relaxed flow. Right there, he's coming into me a little bit, so he'll just run into that flag. I want him to flow around me, nice and relaxed. Good. Don't drop your shoulder into me. Move off that lead rope. There you go. There you go. Good. So we still got some work to do on this side, which is not uncommon. You know, he hasn't been handled a whole lot, but more than likely he's been handled more on his left side than his right side. Yeah, good job, buddy. He's like, yeah, you're darn right I have been, and I really don't want you over there. What'd you say?
He's a tattletale.
He is a tattletale. Yep, they'll tell on you better. So I'll give him another break. I'm pretty happy with his left side right now, so after this break I'm just going to go back to the right side. Yeah, that was a good breath, buddy. I think there's a chance it's all going to be okay. There you go. All right, that was good. Made a difference there. Don't come into me. So I want him to figure out that he can stop moving forward. Like, so he's coming forward and he doesn't just freeze. I kind of want him to melt into a stop, but he doesn't have to come into me to do it. And this is like a little thing, and I don't know, I've just found that if you can get this good and get them in the habit of this where they're stopping relaxed. See, he feels like he needs to come forward into me. And he needs to get in the habit of stopping stopping a little farther away from me, but not stopping where he puts his head up and his back goes down. I want him to stop relaxed, even just at this walk right here. Because I could make him stop. But I want him to choose to stop relaxed. There. Like that. You see, that was a really big deal to him. I don't know exactly why that matters so much, but these pushy horses, it's like they learn, good boy, it's like they learn to, like, you've taught them to hollow out even before you even get on their back, because they're always running into people, and then people are like, don't run into me, and they're throwing their head up and stopping like this, and so they always just waddle up to you with their head up like a duck. Yep, don't do that. And it's like you have to reteach them how to just approach somebody. And be soft when you approach them. There, like that. And that mattered a lot to that horse right there. Like, that's the biggest release he's gotten all day. Don't come into me. Just stop relaxed. Good boy. No. He wants to just walk into me so bad. There you go, buddy. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the progress we've made on the circles. He's about ready to be done, but I want to work one more thing with him. Kind of get him a little more prepared to be ridden, get saddled maybe tomorrow, depending on his progress. Again, we're kind of making this video series to showcase what it's like to send a horse here for 90 days plus to get them started properly. I'm not in a setting where I need to, hey, why don't you stay with me? There you go. I'm not in a setting where I need to get on him tomorrow. I think if we had all afternoon to work on him, we could get him ridden today if we really had to, but I don't. We're getting kind of the like 45-50 minute threshold. He's a 2-year-old. We're getting enough of a handle on him. I just like to unwind him here each direction. He did that phenomenally, actually. Just kind of want to present a puzzle to him, but man, that was pretty light work right there, buddy. Now again, it's this right eye. I'm kind of having to reteach him how to approach people, where he keeps his shoulder out of my business. There. I was really happy with how you unwinded, but don't just waller up to me all the time. There. Try again. So I'll let him try. Don't just waller up to me. And again, I can make him stop out there, but I want to get him to come forward, relax. Like that's relaxed. Now choose to stop on your own. There you go. And it's such a little thing, but man, it just makes the horses, it's like you show them how to not be pushy. There you go. Because, I mean, believe me, I've done the other deal where you're just always pushing them out of your space, pushing them out of your space. And it works eventually. But, you know, it's kind of just like yelling at a little kid that doesn't know what the right thing is. Eventually they'll figure out the right thing. But maybe you should have showed them the right thing to start with. There you go. Good boy. So I think that's a pretty good stopping place for him today. He's gotten a lot softer off this lead rope. He got a lot better about the flag. He unwound great. I was expecting for that to be more of a thing. But I kind of just want to get a start on him turning loose, getting prepared to be saddled, and getting a chance to wear that surcingle. We'll work on him turning loose with his head right here for a second. See if he can just, there, put his head down. I know you got that big pretty neck, but I'd just as soon you relax your top line and be level and be all pretty that way. You don't need to have your head up in the air all the time. So just wiggle this halter a little bit. Just when he turns loose, I'll turn loose. There you go. And this doesn't necessarily pertain to him being ridden at all, but I just want him to operate off a feel, whether I, pick up his foot to trim him or go to pick up on a bridle rein or lead you on a trailer or whatever. I just want you in the habit of, if I offer a feel, you just go ahead and follow it, buddy. Because I'll take care of you. Make sure we don't get in trouble. Really good. See if we can just slide this off. Good boy. Alrighty. Well, we'll get him out again tomorrow and see where we're at. See if any of it took. So Tori, thanks again to Caps Ridge Photography for helping us produce this. But Tori made a good point. She thought it might be helpful for me to just go over a little bit of the equipment we used today. So obviously he was in a rope halter to start. I like to use a rope halter to teach the horses the groundwork. The main reason being these rope halters have a lot more feel to them than kind of your classic nylon or leather halter that buckles, or even a halter that might be a rope halter but buckles here. This lead rope being tied in, you can watch here when I move my left hand, it moves this whole halter back and forth. So it just offers so much more feel to the horses than as opposed to kind of your traditional leather halter we got here. You can watch when I move my left hand back and forth, the halter, like I can't even feel it with my right hand at all. The halter doesn't move at all until I get almost completely tight. And so that's just more of a learning aid for the horses than anything. It kind of helps them learn to follow a feel. Now, once they get more educated and we're going to take them to a show or ship them or something like that, we might put them in a leather halter or whatever it might be, just out of practicality's sake, or maybe aesthetics if they're going to go in a conformation class or something like that. But we definitely prefer the rope halters when we're teaching them like we're doing with Goose right now. And then I also used a flag. You kind of have two options. I use both. This is kind of your more typical, I guess you'd say, horsemanship flag. This is just a plastic handle and a piece of wire. The old ones were actually made from old like tractor trailer trucks, the radio antennas. They would take them off old trucks and then tie a flag to the end of them. This is just a flag, like a stock flag you'd get from your local feed rep or local stockyard or something like that, and these work just as well. I kind of go back and forth on these. These maybe just have a little more durability, but they are a lot more expensive, so don't feel like you have to go out and buy a metal flag if you're gonna use a flag for something. These work just fine, but these do last a long time, so that's why we've got a couple of them.
Do you want to talk about that they're not that hard though? Like I feel like a lot of hunter people think that those are really rough.
Sure, that's a good point. This metal flag, it's very soft metal. Like it's very bendy, almost more like a dressage whip, but without the whip part at the end of it. So it's not, it's not something that we're using to hurt the horse or anything like that. It's really, more than anything, just an extension of my arm. So I can reach up and maybe touch them on their butt. As you saw today with Goose, he was, there were a couple times he maybe wanted to grab his butt if he wanted to kick at that or something. I have all that reach instead of me reaching up and touching him with my arm and being in range to get kicked. So yeah, these metal flags and those flags, we're not using them by any means for force or anything like that. It's just a good soft material that's lightweight, you can use all day and use as an extension of your own arm. And then lastly, kind of the homemade surcingle. All this is a latigo, a cinch, another latigo, another cinch. The cinch I put on top is kind of a wider cinch. The sizes really don't matter as long as you've got correct sizes to fit the horses you have. But I just rigged this up the way you'd rig up the cinch on a saddle. You just treat one of the cinches like a D-ring on a saddle, and then the other cinch like a normal cinch. And then on this side, I've got it tied up, but this would just go around the horse, and I'd drop it down and operate like that's my D-ring on my saddle, and this is the bottom of the cinch. So I used to be, when we first started out, we just get them to the point where they were ready to saddle, And you can definitely do that. I mean, we saw Goose get a little bothered by this today, which again wasn't a big deal. He worked out of it great. But I've found it's maybe just a little easier process on them, a little calmer process if we just kind of phase it in. So like tomorrow, I'll probably put a saddle pad and then put this surcingle around the saddle pad, work him in that. And if he's doing really good, we might put the saddle on tomorrow, but that's kind of my general formula is first we just do the surcingle, then we do the surcingle with the saddle pad, and then we'll saddle them last, which you guys will see in later videos.